So let's go into these, and I think we start with the fragile future. And what does that really mean? I mean, we're looking at life stress, we're looking at loneliness, we're looking at anxiety. So what are we actually seeing here when we start to look at things like life stress?
Exactly. So life stress is a really interesting topic. We broke down life stress into a range of different kind of components. First one is money and finances. We're looking at work. We're looking at family. And the key thing we found was if we're looking at who was most stressed on a daily, everyday sort of basis, definitely younger demographics. The 16 to 29-year-olds were significantly higher in the amount of stress that they were reporting compared to those who are 60 plus.
And this is specifically more around money and finances versus the people that are 60 plus and even 45 plus as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The 16 to 29-year-olds, almost half of them were reporting financial and money stress most or every day of the week, which is just a huge number.
And it's incredibly interesting as we live in these big cities that are getting more and more expensive. We hear these conversations every single day. Urbanization is improving. The wealthy are moving to cities. The kids are kind of starting to choose a new life. And when I look at the future of what kids are going to be doing, they're leaning into the sharing economy. They're starting to think about, I don't need to own a car. I don't need to even, have full-time rental property or even own a house. We've got people that are starting to think, what about a nomadic lifestyle as well, right?
And it's very interesting if you're looking at each of the age bands. When you start at 16 to 29, you move to 30 to 44, then you go 45 to 59, and then 60 plus. At each of those increments, there's a dramatic reduction in that report of financial stress. In particular, those 60 pluses, only 13% of them across America were reporting stress most or every day around finances. And I think what you can imply into that data and see in that data is the effect of asset price inflation over the last few years.
And it's interesting, we're actually going to see a huge transfer of wealth as well. I think it's something like to the number of like $30 trillion is going to trickle down globally. From the older population, into our parents and then us and then into the younger people as well. But it's going to take time. So there's a level of that stress that's going to continue from now into the future. And once it's established, it's going to be quite affecting to society, right?
For sure. And I think, you can see these in broad demographic trends as well. If you're looking at a lot of commentary within the media around, younger people not buying homes, delaying the purchase of homes and also starting families. And what you see in this data is possibly part of the reason why is just a dramatic lack of financial resources. If they're under this much stress on a daily basis with finances, what you start to see is pushing off of responsibilities and actions.
And thinking about this fragile future as well, on top of the life stress that we're seeing, we've got loneliness, and we're seeing some very interesting numbers here, also in the youth.
We looked at loneliness in terms of three components, and we used a validated scale on loneliness. So there was the idea of lacking companionship. There was a sense of feeling isolated from other people, and also feeling left out with other people. And on all three of those measures, youth, so 16 to 29, and younger Americans were significantly higher in citing a lack of companionship, of feeling isolated, and feeling left out from others.
It's interesting. These are the kids that were born of the internet age. We were promised so much: connection, free information, amazing convenience. And what we have got, basically, is this level of loneliness that's been exacerbated by that connection, and it's the digital connection versus the human connection.
I think maybe we're conflating here the experience of digital connection with the real effect of physical connection, the eye contact, the mirror neurons, those things. And I think what we're seeing in this data, at least what these young people are reporting, is a lack of that sense of deep connection with those around them, with their community, with their family, with friends.
And the ripple effect into a cohesive society as well. I mean, beyond that as well, part of the study that we found was around social insecurity.
So this scale, again, was adapted based on a validated scale, and it's looking at attachment theory and the sense to which someone feels secure attachment with those around them. And some of the items here we're looking at is a sense that you're worried about people judging you, or you're worried about that people don't necessarily care for you, right, or that those around you might even hurt you. And again, on every single one of those measures, youth was significantly higher than everyone else in America. And if you're looking at the worrying about judging, gets up to almost 50% or half of America's youth feel like that people are judging them on a regular basis.
But really that judgment is even starting to bleed into society as a whole. Or there may not be judgment, but just that feeling that judgment is coming.
Yeah, this idea that everyone has their own personal brand, and how particularly in social media, and it's being perpetuated within society.
Yeah.
I mean, I think possibly the flip side of that is this sense of being judged all the time, because if you feel like you're always on, then you've also got to worry about the sense that you're always on and that people might be looking at you.
So that's the future of life in America. So where can we find more information?
If people are interested in looking at the data or some of these findings in more detail, they can go to intentions.co.
And do come across to nikolasbadminton.com, where I talk about this and many other things about how life is changing as a whole.